So, your girl just recorded an entire 40-minute podcast, and it did not save on this card. I don't understand why. Absolutely no idea. I've convinced myself to re record after I've taken some hour or so to myself to reboot from that. We're going to be talking about drinking alcohol today. And let me tell you, this is going to be a fun episode because we have questions answered by you guys on my Instagram. If you guys want to be a part of the next episode, follow me on Miss_Swole_Shady, Miss as in MS, and you guys will be able to participate. I stopped drinking in January, and it's not like I've never had a drink since then. That's just the time that I really decided I'm going to see what it's like to live my life without drinking, spend a night without having a glass of wine when there's company over, or go to parties without relying on alcohol to socialize. I asked you guys some questions, and we're going to go over some of your answers. So the first question I asked was, when you choose to drink, what is it for? And I think this is probably the most important question that we should all be asking ourselves before we go to grab a glass of something or a can of something, is why do I want to drink right now? Just ask yourself why, and it can make all the difference. So this is what you guys said. You guys said social, because everyone else is doing it. Social, taste, that guy's flirting with me, no thank you. When I feel a little quiet and tired, I'll have one drink to perk me up a bit. I got into whiskey, specifically Jack Daniels, to have fun, but it made me drunk faster. TBH, I love the taste of Mike's lemonades. I'm like an old man who needs beer. So those are a few different responses, and I'm going to go over, I think, the main reason why we all drink, which is the social aspect. So a lot of us are drinking because our friends are drinking. We don't want to be drunk alone. We don't want them to be drunk without us. We don't want to be drunk without them. And it becomes kind of such a normalized thing. It's the one drug that you get asked why you don't do. I've noticed since I stopped drinking, I have been able to really dig a little bit deeper into why I started drinking in the first place and why I feel like I need to drink sometimes. And doing that has helped me make the decision to not drink a lot easier. I now have to consciously make the decision to drink, which is interesting because I think we normally don't even make a conscious decision to drink. We're just like, yeah, it's a party tonight, I'm drinking. It's not really a question sometimes for some people when it should be. That's just kind of something that I have found because I've been not drinking for so long. I actually have to think about if I really want to drink or not, which can be really helpful. So I always thought, why do I want to drink? A lot of times I felt that I was drinking. It was always when I wanted to be a part of the fun. I wanted to be drinking like everybody else in my sorority. I wanted to be drinking like my friends that were at the bar. I wanted to be included in the fun that they were experiencing, not allowing myself to realize that I can have a lot of fun without drinking. First, it was to fit in. And I think you felt cool when you started drinking, especially when you were younger. I think now at this age you don't feel cool for drinking, but I think sometimes you also feel cool for having blackout stories or stories where you did the most bizarre things because you were drunk. And I think that's what kind of adds to this, yeah, I go out and party, I'm cool. And you may not be actually saying that oh yeah, I'm cool, I go out and party, but there's kind of a expectation of a college student or a person in their 20s to be going out and spending their nights out late. It kind of shows that you have a social life when that doesn't really mean that. It's like when we say, oh, they can't hang, or you drink all night, you stay up till 5 a.m, and you ruin your next day, and then you just get the reputation of, oh, she can hang. It's this weird reputation, especially if you're in a sorority, that you want. You want to be the one that's known in the sorority to be the craziest one. Look at how drunk they get. Oh my God, they're drinking all the time. It's this thing where we think it's so cool to be the one that's always drinking, or, oh, this is the party animal one. This is the one all the fraternities like. And you don't even realize, if you stop for a second to think of what the party animal actually feels like mentally, because the one who's drinking the most and abusing drugs the most is probably the one who's doing their worst when they're sober. And so they feel like they need to drink. And I'm not trying to call every person who is known as the party animal a sad person, but when you rely so much on drugs, like, to me, there's got to be something underneath that. It's not just you having fun to have fun. There could be something you're escaping from. There's a lot of things with drinking that, even in like a small scale of escaping from a feeling that you have in that moment and just having a drink to tone yourself down or whatever it is, there's a reason behind drinking. And I think trying sobriety can be really, really difficult in some senses, because now you have to explain to people why you don't drink. And some people think, they're being a party pooper. They don't want to drink with me. Why do they have to be so lame? And it kind of sucks when people are saying that. But in the day, we're like, who really fucking cares? Because you're going to be the one that wakes up the next morning that feels better and they feel like shit. We use drinking sometimes as a way to like loosen up, as a way to feel like we're part of the crowd and we're in on the fun, when really the people that you're around should be people that make you feel that way regardless. They don't make you feel like you need to drink to be fun. And maybe it's not the people you're around, maybe it's just your own thoughts of you thinking you need to be drunk to have fun or be bold. And it becomes very addictive, because then every time you go out, you think that's what you need. You need that to socialize. And then you don't really learn how to socialize or talk to strangers on your own. You need the alcohol with it. I was in the first episode that I was recording that got deleted. I was talking a little bit about when I have a boyfriend, I think that's when I'm going to start having wine more. And I hate to say that. One of the reasons why I'll drink wine is I do love the taste of wine, don't get me wrong, but I get like horny when I drink wine. And when you're drinking wine and you're getting horny, and then you're like, oh my God, that'd be so nice, a night where we have a wine night and then the blah blah blah, we have sex. And like, to me, so exciting. But what's underneath that is, if you're using alcohol to be more bold in bed or be able to initiate easier because you're drunk, there's something beneath that. And that is like the insecurity of the vulnerability behind sex and your sexual confidence. Being aware of it can really help you figure out why you go for it in the first place and how you could actually fix that. And so you don't need to have a wine night in order to feel like you could be bold in bed that night. And I don't want to rely on that. I'm just saying, like, in the moment right now, that's one of the big reasons why I would be saying yes to wine nights more if I was in that position. I was talking to somebody about how they feel that their significant other brings their walls down more when they are drunk. And so they like to talk to them. They like to drink with them because the walls can be brought down and they can have more vulnerable conversations, which kind of sucks that you need alcohol to do that. At the end of the day, when I look back, I can understand that. I can understand how I wanted to be drunk with my significant other, because it does take those walls down and it brings out a different side of you guys. And so I think if that side is only coming out when you're drunk, then you have to kind of reassess, oh, this person's always drunk when we do have good times. Oh, this person is always drunk when we do have really deep conversations, or high, or whatever you want to say. I think having that realization can kind of suck, because you shouldn't be having a relationship with drunk them. You should be having a relationship with sober them. The next question is, if you've tried sobriety, what was your biggest challenge? Here we go. This person said, I honestly loved it. I loved going out with friends and feeling safe and having a Shirley Temple. I agree. I think, first of all, Shirley Temples are gas. And I feel like going out and having a little drink and then also getting to like protect your friends is fun, because as a woman, it's not the safest thing to be going out, going into Ubers after, walking home from the bars. So being able to consciously know where your friends are and where they're going because you're not drunk out of your mind is a really nice feeling. This next person said avoiding boredom with it. And see, to me, this is great because there's so much awareness in that. Avoiding boredom with it. That shows the awareness of like, I am bored when I'm sober. And then that could be a wake-up call for somebody to be like, okay, why am I bored when I'm sober? What is it about life that is so unfulfilling? Am I suffering from mental illness right now? Am I having a hard time because of this? Are there things I need to improve in this way? Like, there's so much an inner work that can happen with realizing why you drink in the first place. This person said the ease of access and normalization of it. And then the next person said forcing myself to not go into the liquor store after work, which is so true, because if that's part of your routine to go into the liquor store after work, especially after a stressful day at work, that's something that's hard to resist. It's like for me, when I think about getting a $7 latte, I'm like, oh my God, that would be the best thing in the world right now, but I need to budget. And then you drive past the coffee shop, you're like, oh, okay, fine, I'll just go in it. You almost have to literally change up your entire path to go home from work. Especially the hardest part, I would say, of that is like, it's after work. After work is when you want it the most, I'm assuming, because work was so tough. But again, do we need to quit that job? Is the job burning you out? Do we need to set boundaries with the job? You know? Another person said social events. And then another person said, I low-key haven't been sober since I was 16. I'm turning 23 next month. Which is something I think we literally don't think about, is how long we've been doing something for. Nicotine is so normalized. All of a sudden you look back and you're like, wow, I started my sophomore year of high school. It's been 8 years. Just it being so normalized in our culture, and then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, it's been so long since I actually took a break from drinking, since I actually have been somewhere and thought, I don't need a drink right now. The next question I asked everybody was, what's a tip you'd give someone to starting their sober journey? They said, it doesn't have to be permanent if you're testing. Try it out and adventure. Which, yeah, because for me, I remember when I went sober in January, it was just kind of like, let's see how many times I could turn down a drink. We're not going to put too much pressure on this. And then I had gone through a breakup after I decided to go sober. And then when I was going through the breakup, I'm like, I don't want to get drunk to escape from these feelings, because I want this healing journey to be something like through and through. I want to be present in all of it so that I don't have to deal with this later on and it bleeds into the future. So I really decided to go into my healing journey. I mean, not just taking away alcohol, but social media. Like, I wasn't allowing myself to distract myself in negative ways. You know, yes, when you go through breakups, you want to distract yourself by doing an activity, but something like doom scrolling was going to hinder my healing. Something like drinking when I was feeling off or sad was going to hinder my healing. So those kind of things I cut off. And I remember one night I really wanted a Purple Rain, which if you try to look it up, I don't know if you're actually going to find out what this is, but it was just a drink at our college bar that was literally the yummiest thing ever. It tastes like a popsicle stick. And I loved Purple Rain. So I was like, oh, I just want to have a Purple Rain. I remember that night I was like a little anxious because I was like, oh my God, I haven't drank at all. And it had been a few months. And having that Purple Rain that night really, really helped me in this kind of decision to not drink, because I was able to not make it like such a bad thing, like something I really wasn't allowed to do. And I think when you do make it like that, it becomes something that you want even more, and then something that you get anxious around. For me, being able to have a drink every once in a while helps me take the pressure off of, oh my God, I'm on a streak. I haven't drank in so long. I really, really want that. And I'm actually making a connection that I made with my therapist, where I always say, like, I don't want to hook up with a random person. I want to be hooking up with only my boyfriend when I have a boyfriend, yada, yada, yada. And I remember, like, there would be times where I would be talking to someone, I'm like, oh my God, I want to fuck them so bad, but, like, no, I can't do that. I got to stay, like, on exactly, like, with my intention and do what I say that I want to do. And she was like, you don't have to, like, you can be like that sometimes. Like, yes, you want to find a boyfriend, and yes, this is how you want to act when you really like someone, but you don't have to kind of almost shame yourself into being like, you can't do that, that's wrong. And once I just took the pressure off myself, I actually didn't even really want to hook up with that random person anymore. I think the pressure made it so much worse, of being like, you can't do this. Okay, now I want to do it even more. So doing that felt really nice, and that's how I am now. I don't drink normally, but if there's a cocktail that I'm like, I really want that, or a sip of wine or a glass of wine that I really am like, I want that right now, I have it. But asking myself why I want it is also a helpful tool for me. And most times, if I'm like, oh yeah, like, I'll have a glass of wine, and I'm like, wait, why do I want that glass of wine? And sometimes I then think about, like, why I don't want something, or why I don't want to get drunk, and I'm like, yeah, we're not going to drink today. Somebody said one of their tips was researching mocktails, which, let me tell you, that's what I've been doing every time I go to a restaurant, because I want to be on the fun of drinking a fun little drink. So I just research mocktails or ask them to make me something that they want, that they think is good. Somebody also said drinking in moderation. Yes, it's different if you're addicted to it or if you feel it makes you sick, but drinking in moderation, which is kind of what I've been saying, is something that can help you lean off of it more and more as time goes on. Another person said, if you slip, it's okay, start again and keep going. I like that positive message because I think a lot of times, I mean, people who suffer from addiction, slipping up can be really defeating. But if you are patient with yourself and you're compassionate with yourself and you just tell yourself, I got this, I'm going to keep going, don't just give up, because a slip is not a slide down into the dark hole. It is just a slip, and you can bounce back from it every day. You could always start over whenever you want. Somebody said lock the fuck in. Lock the fuck in. I don't really know how to make someone lock the fuck in, but thank you for that. And Paul, we're not reading yours out loud. He's ridiculous. Okay. So that's all we have for the questions. But I just wanted to do this podcast to inspire some people to question themselves of why they do things, and then start to look a little bit deeper and then see what work can be done there. If you feel that you need to be drunk to not have such a stick up your ass, maybe start looking into reasons why you have a stick up your ass. Are there people around you that stress you out? Do you stress yourself out? Are there boundaries that need to be made? Like, there is so much work that goes beneath all of this, and that's where I feel that we all need to be looking. Why is our reason for doing it? What do we need to escape from? Do we need to escape of the awkward silence when you don't know what to say in a conversation? Are you trying to escape from boredom? Are you trying to escape from the inability to put yourself out there when you're sober? I think if we all just start thinking about why we're doing it in the first place, and the more we improve and do the inner work, we're going to feel less of an incline to drink. I have found that the more present I've become in my life by not using things to escape has made me, yes, there's times where it is hard to be present because you feel very bored or you need some type of like stimulation. I've found that the more present I've become, the more I've been enjoying life, and the less I feel that I need to escape from my life. I hope this inspired you guys. Reach out to me. Let me know if you're on a sober journey. Obviously, I'm not a professional, so if you have an addiction, reach out to somebody. Let's all take our inhale and our exhale. I got a stuffy nose like always, so I'll just lead you guys along. Here we go. Let's take an inhale. And exhale, let anything go. Okay. I usually let out a sigh with all my exhales, so start letting out a sigh. All right, do one more. Inhale. And exhale. Okay. If you guys want to check out my Amazon storefront, I have army must-haves for the field, things I've mentioned in my podcast, my favorite books, all that kinds of stuff is on my Amazon storefront. Go check out the new Muscle Mommy tees. They're beautiful. They're on musclemommystore.com. I'm linking them in the bio. And follow me on TikTok, Instagram. Everything's in my link tree. Everything's in the bio. Okay. I'm also going to link the episode called Psychology of Alcohol from the Psychology of Your 20s, because I listened to that a little while ago and I really liked it. So yeah, the Instagram to this podcast is the Muscle Mommy Mindset. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in.